Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Manyitam bhikkave rogo manyitam gando manyitam tas sallang tasmatiha bhikkave amanyamanena cetasa viharissamati evañ hi ho bhikkave sikkitabbangti. Dear friends in Dhamma, so typically we are discussing a kind of a sutta taken from various nikayas, sometimes from Majjhima Nikaya, middle-length discourses of the Buddha, and sometimes from Khuddaka Nikaya, the shorter discourses of the Buddha. Likewise, so we are picking randomly certain suttas, mostly they are relevant to our practice. Actually, the last time we have taken one sutta from Khuddaka Nikaya, shorter discourses of the Buddha, and this time I thought of taking one from connected discourses, that is the Samyutta Nikaya book. Anyway, I thought of giving you attention to few things that we typically discuss while we are conducting retreats at Nissarana. There are 5 ways we basically like to pay attention during a retreat. The first one is about the sila, where we are restraining our mind, or rather we are restraining our body and the speech. So if we are little concerned about that restrainment, so then it will provide us kind of a comfortable environment within ourselves, because otherwise mind may tend to sort of complain about ourselves. I am not concerned about this, I am not concerned about that, you are not concerned about this, you are not concerned about that, because of you this has happened, because of you that has happened. So likewise, so many complaints about ourselves may disturb our inner kind of coexistence, inner happiness, inner joy, because the sila is not good. So therefore Buddha mentioned, if you are maintaining proper sila, so that will help us to have a inner kind of calmness, and again you feel comfortable, you feel at home, and you feel that you deserve even more kind of a upliftment in your spirituality. Currently you are somewhere, but you feel that you deserve something more. But on the other hand, if you are sort of careless about the sila, the morality, then the opposite might happen. So the mind starts condemning you, mind starts criticizing you. That makes you a little uncomfortable and making you difficult to continue your practice. So therefore, paying little attention on morality is quite helpful, and it will provide you a kind of a strength, and again you feel that you are now a good person. Previously there may be various faults, there may be various mistakes, misdeeds even might have happened, but I am now making a honest determination to maintain proper sila. So that's a kind of a inner urge coming, inner determination coming, not to show up, not to sort of make any kind of a benefit, to have some understanding about the Buddha's teaching, because then it is not that we are simply going astray, rather we are following the teaching, and what we are practicing today is in line with what Buddha has mentioned. So time to time, referring Buddha's teaching and listening to Dhamma sermons is quite useful. Then only you would be able to understand, okay, it is not something that I alone following. It is something that many have followed eons ago, many thousand years ago. And even today many are following the same teaching. So referring Buddha's teaching in that sense is very essential. Then only we get a lot of confidence. I am also following the same path, which is an ancient path. And again that refers very much kind of learnedness here in the Dhamma, and therefore you are quite confident that you are doing the same thing, correct thing. And on the other hand, we have to be a little mindful while practicing not to think too much about those learned information, rather keeping the mind very lighter, because a lot of knowledge, book knowledge and all those information might crowd your mind, and as a result of that, you are not giving enough prominence to the direct knowledge. So direct knowledge is something that we are paying more attention here, giving more prominence here. So therefore it is a must to sort of be more kind of simplistic, simplifying your mind, till having kind of a lighter atmosphere in your mind, not burdened with a lot of knowledge, not burdened with so much of information. So that is why it is mentioned as beginner's mind. So you need to think that you are not an expert, rather you are a beginner, you are a fresher. You know nothing basically. You are not borrowing any knowledge from the Buddha, you are not borrowing anything from the Dhamma, Sangha, rather you are starting afresh, something like that. Your mind is not conditioned by learnedness. So such kind of a well-grounded, kind of an innocent kind of an attitude is more required, particularly when we are developing experiential knowledge. So here we are trying to develop a bhavanamaya panya, or what we can translate as experiential knowledge based on the meditation. And then Buddha mentioned about the importance of the discussion. So even though we are practicing, sometimes we have to take proper decisions, and again we have to cultivate various faculties, various skills, and we sometimes don't know whether our understanding is properly in line with what Buddha has mentioned. So as a result of that, certain doubts, perplexities can arise in your mind. So now those have to be eliminated, those have to be clarified. Then only we are able to put a lot of effort or honestly practice, wholeheartedly practice. Otherwise we are a little wavering and not sure about what we are doing. And as a result of that, the results may be weak, or we won't get any result, or we being not confident about what we are doing, not trusting the path, not trusting the method. Such problems are there. But when we are discussing all those kind of doubts, then we can clarify honestly. I mean, we are talking, discussing, and that will help us to have a proper direction, proper guidance, and then confidently we can continue the path. And not only that, actually our discussion will help many others, because sometimes even though we practice, we can't communicate that well sometimes. But there are certain others who are capable of doing both. Say they are doing their practice as well as they are capable of communicating really well on what they have experienced. So if we are doing such kind of a proper communication, it would be helpful to the others who are not capable of doing that. So that is another advantage that we are having through this kind of an open discussion. So here we are doing like that. So we all participate in that. We are talking openly about our practice, so that we ourselves are confident what we are doing, and again others are also encouraged, and they also motivated, and they also become confident, yes, this can be done. It is not that it is kind of an obsolete practice, obsolete teaching, rather it is a very fresh teaching, even valid today. So that sort of confidence is quite necessary, understanding is quite necessary. So that is the outcome of this discussion. And then Buddha mentioned about the samatha-anuggahita, what we call as the support we are getting through the tranquility practice. Because typically our minds are scattered and jumping from this to that, and fairly confused, burdened, distracted. So such a mind is not capable of understanding what Buddha is talking. Even though we understand through books and learning, so that is only the kind of a surface knowledge, superficial knowledge. But here what we are trying to do is to calm down the mind, relax the mind, focus the mind, and reduce the inner chatter as much as possible, and then understand the reality. So that requires fair amount of concentration, the collectedness of the mind. So that is one aspect of our meditation. So time to time, therefore, we need to collect the mind, concentrate the mind. But concentration alone is not necessary. Using the concentrated mind, we need to observe, we need to investigate, we need to explore. we need to search what is going on. So that is the Vipassana part, where the concentrated mind being used to understand the reality. So that is very essential, because sometimes we are quite satisfied with the blissful state that we sometimes experience. Because as we are continuing our practice time to time, we may be able to get a very good, pleasant abiding through the practice, because the defilements are abandoned, subsided we can say, and hindrances are subsided. So as a result of that, inner burning is no more. So you feel pleasant, you feel happy, you feel calm, you feel tranquil, serene. That itself is a really good result, and we can encourage that. But that alone is not necessary. So that is where Buddha highlight samahito yatha bhutam pajanati passati. So now you need to use that concentration, use that collectedness of the mind to see the realities, to see things as they truly are. Now that is the part of the Vipassana where you are, first of all, you need to prepare your mind, arouse necessary skills, develop necessary skills, and once those skills are available, now you are doing the investigation part, exploring part, kind of searching part, close examination part. Then you are capable of understanding various behaviors of various phenomena. It could be bodily phenomena, feelings, perceptions, formations, different states of consciousness. So likewise, it's a vast area of investigation. So that is the one actually giving us more opportunity to understand what is available, what is going on, how they really behave. It is not that I am making things impermanent, I am making things unsatisfactory. Rather, they inherently have those qualities. So they are behaving according to those characteristics. By observing that, then we also understand, yes, it is true. It is so kind of impermanent, inconstant, not subjected to lasting happiness, constantly changing, quite vulnerable, and I have no control. So likewise, various insights are possible depending on our proper observation. So therefore, sometimes people are thinking that I have to think like impermanent, suffering. It is not the path. It is not that we are forcefully trying to make things impermanent. It is not that we are trying to condition the mind, telling that things are sort of suffering, telling the mind that things are sort of non-self. Rather, so we are maintaining a very open, very relaxed, unbiased, unconditioned kind of mind. And to that mind, we are allowing the process to be open. So then is a kind of a unbiased observation, kind of a just observation. And then the mind will understand. Mind has the capacity to understand, like a child. So when we are exposing a child to various, situations, so by going through those situations, experiencing those situations, a child may quickly learn. So similarly, our minds are capable of learning through observation. So that is where we are trying to continue in the Vipassana side. So all these 5 supports, therefore Buddha mentioned, are essential for our practice. So we need to recognize where I am going to support through sila. When I need to pay attention about the sila. Say it has to be continuously maintained, and if I am little lacking somewhere, so then I need to honestly recognize, okay, these areas I am still not considerable or considerate. So I need to further strengthen those areas. I need to reinforce those areas. I need to be a little careful on those areas. Still I am being dragged by these kind of defilements. So likewise we have to take kind of a honest reflection and find out where certain things are not properly maintained. It may be bodily behavior, it may be verbal behavior. So likewise now we are refining. And then time to time listening to Dhamma, particularly the Dhamma sermons more related to the practice. And then time to time participating in good discussions, honest discussions. And again continuing the meditation. And having said that, actually we can move towards this month's Dhamma sermon. So I have taken one sutta called Yavakalapi Sutta. We can translate it as the sheaf of barley. A sheaf of barley. So this is the translation of the name actually given by Bhikkhu Bodhi for the Yavakalapi Sutta. It's a very interesting one, and we made few sermons in Sinhala on this sutta, and it was published as a book called Navatuna Sita. Very, very interesting book and quite relevant to Vipassana. And anyway, I thought of taking that same sutta to deliver a sermon on several sermons maybe, because quite relevant to our practice, particularly to Vipassana. So Buddha starts this sermon with a simile. So in this sutta, Buddha starts the sutta with a simile. And he say that one person, actually the heap of barley being placed on a junction, a kind of a crossroad. And 6 people are coming from 6 directions, and all of them have flails. So flail is something that one is using for what's called the threshing flail. I checked that what is exactly it is. So it is a kind of a stick connected with another stick, and the smaller stick can be moved. So you have a holding stick which is quite long, and to the end of that long stick you have a kind of a connector, kind of a, say, strip-like thing, and with that strip another shorter stick is connected, so that shorter stick can be moved, or and you are using the handle to struck the heap of barley. So as a result of that, the smaller but flat kind of stick will properly struck the heap of barley. So this is being used in threshing flail. Now this is a kind of an ancient tool they are using in this wheat and all these different barley and type of those kind of grains. So when they take the harvest, so they need to remove all the other unnecessary stuff. They need to take only the seeds, the grains. So what they do is they are threshing using that flail. So now what Buddha mentioned here is, suppose now there are 6 people from 6 directions or 6 roads, they are coming with these threshing flails, and they are strongly striking the heap of barley. So what's now happening? So when you are striking using this threshing flail to the heap of barley, so what is the result? Yeah, all the husk and all these things will be removed and the grains will remain. And now according to this, they don't stop at that level. They're continuously threshing. So then what happened? Even the grains become further crushed, right? It can become even powdered like. So they are continuously striking using the 6 flails. And interestingly, Buddha mentioned when they are continuing that, there's another person coming as the 7th person, and he too has the threshing flail, and he too start threshing, or we can say striking the heap of barley. Now it is no more heap of barley, it's very much like powdered like. Now this is a very interesting simile Buddha has given. Now why Buddha has given this simile? Now he connect this with the reality, connect this with the practice. And now he say, a typical person, he see various things using his eyes, not mindful. He continuously see various beautiful things through the eyes, and he being attracted to that. He is now fully involved in that, thinking about it, proliferating about it, imagining about it, possessing kind of possessive thoughts are going about it, aggressive thoughts are going about it, different kinds of thoughts are going about it when he sees something. And similarly, Buddha mentioned he hears something also. Now you hear a news, and we again think, we again project, we again plan, we again anticipate, and we being disturbed, we being shocked by hearing kind of disturbing news. And say you receive a very beautiful news, yes, you are quite fascinated, you are quite delighted about it. So you are jumping from this to that, different extremes. So you are what happened to your mind? So mind get disturbed, mind get attached, mind get defiled, mind become agitated because of seeing, because of listening. Not only that, another faculty, through the nose. Say while you are going, you get a bad smell. So you feel disturbed, you feel a little upset about what's going on. And now you start thinking. And you are imagining also. And who did this? And you are now blaming even another person, kind of accusing another person. So likewise, many different ways, now thoughts are going on and you are being disturbed. And similarly, Buddha mentioned, say you are experiencing kind of a taste and you are completely unmindful, and as a result of that, mind go and grasp it, mind go and hold it, think about it, involved about it, entangled about that sort of taste. And using the tongue also, using that particular taste also, you start proliferating. More and more thinking. Then assume that you had kind of a calm mind, relaxed mind. Now what happened? Completely changed, completely disturbed, and you are being burdened, tensed, stressed up. Now suppose Buddha further mentioned the fourth, that is the tongue. That as a result of the taste, what's happening to you? So you feel greedy, you feel, if things are not appealing, then you feel upset. Who made this curry today? What happened to this good wife? What happened to her? She used to cook like this, but now what happened to her? So many thoughts might arise in the husband's wife, not only in the wife's wife, whatever it is. So likewise, so you start thinking, you're being disturbed because of the taste. And similarly, when you are encountering some sort of a tangible, and you feel that, you sense that, again you might get disturbed and you are being provoked sometimes, and you're being unhappy about it, you're being disturbed about it. You start thinking about it, imagining about it, maybe even planning to get more. So likewise, either to the positive or to the negative, all these turbulence going to happen, going to impact to the mind, by the way. So these are merely senses. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body are merely senses, and the impact coming through the senses, the impulsive impact coming from the senses are really disturbing to the mind. And now we have again the mind also. So with the mind, what are you doing? Further thinking, right? Further thinking. Okay, you think about the past. And presently also you are thinking what you have seen, then you are thinking what you have heard, you are thinking what you have smelled, you are thinking. So senses are also promoting that thinking. So that is the sixth. So if you can compare now the simile and this process, what do you think? So why Buddha mentioning about this threshing flail, that simile of threshing flail used to thrash or used to struck the barley? What do you think? So ultimately the person become completely disturbed, completely depressed, burnt out in today's terms, right? Burnt out. Thinking, and you are obsessive and you are overthinking and you are constantly being bombarded by so many things, either forms, sounds, smells, tastes, tangibles, thoughts. You've been fed up. Now what is that seventh person? Again carrying another flail and again hitting, again trashing, again striking. What do you think about that person? What is the simile for that? Mind already covered. Now that's another subject. Now you are planning a future life also. I am going to be that, I am going to be this, I am going to be that. And you are having even future plans to be reborn as someone and far away planning. And Buddha mentioned, so this foolish person even think on those things which are quite imagining, and it further burdens the mind. So there is no any kind of rest to the mind on the other hand. Suppose the mind is kind of a person, say you are giving too much work to it. Through the eyes you are giving work, through ears you are giving work, through nose you are giving work, through the tongue you are giving work, to the body you are giving work, and by giving various mental objects, again you are giving work. Now it's being really burdened, exhausted. And to that, again you are imagining about very far away things going to happen, maybe about the future life, planning about them, imagining about them. And that is where you can imagine that what has happened to those barley seeds or barley grains, completely trashed, become powdered like. Because all these strong people are constantly striking using this threshing flails. As a result of that, it's almost like powdered. So you can think about a typical person who has a lot of problems. Why? Because through the eyes he is because of the impulse coming through the eyes he promoted thinking. Because of the smells he is promoting thinking. Sounds he is promoting thinking. Taste he is promoting thinking. And tangibles also he is promoting thinking. If those things are not much available, he himself is further thinking. And further imagining also about the future lives as well. So, very much like you are being exhausted. Sometimes if you are sort of all those patterns are embedded to the mind now. So then those patterns are fairly hardwired like. You are being driven by them. Kind of rumination, worrying. And ultimately one can become mentally sick, depressed, anxiety. All those things are possible. So, and now, interestingly, Buddha gave another simile. Now this is a God story. So there are Sura and Asura. So Devas and Asuras. So Buddha mentioned about a long time ago, there was a very ancient battle between Devas and Asuras. The king of the Devas, the Tavatinsa Devas, who is that? The king Sakka. And the king of the Asuras, who is that? Vepachitti. Now they are two groups against each other. Very similar to human world, right? Like India and China, like Russia and say US, something like that. Very similar. They are hitting each other. They want to go for a battle. Devas and Asuras. Now they are planning their victory. Now Asuras are telling, so we are going to win the battle. Now we have to catch King Sakka. You got to bind him on 5 places. All the 4 limbs and his head or the neck have to be bound, and you have to catch me to me. So the Vepachitta is instructing his battalion. And the same instruction given by the King Sakka also to his fellow army. He is telling, okay, you have to win the battle, you have to bound Vepachitta, the king, Asura king, and you have to bind him through the 4 limbs and the neck, and you got to catch him and then bring to me, and where we are going to assemble, and that the assembly place is also given, it's called Sudhamma. Sudhamma is the assembly hall. You can imagine now, beautiful, right? I mean, looking at a kind of a war now going to happen. So today is a cinema day. So now the battle is going on. Ultimately, who won? Now a striking battle, and here and there the missiles are thrown, and today's terms, and ballistic missiles are there. Or helicopters are going, the planes are going, war planes are going. Drones are used. Drones are also used. Ultimately, who won? Sura win. That means the Devas won. So Devas won, and they bound Vepachitti, the king of the Asuras. They bound the forelimbs and the neck, and they are taking him to the Sudamma, the assembly hall. Now the interesting point is not that. Interesting point is here, Buddha mentioned the type of the bondage. So he mentioned, the moment the king Vepachitti think that the Devas are good, Devas are righteous, and Asuras are bad, Asuras are unrighteous, so I better stay with the Devas. Then he feel released, and he take all the blissful states of the Deva realm, and he enjoys the Devas, say all the luxuries. The moment he think Devas are bad, Devas are unrighteous, Asuras are good, Asuras are righteous, I need to go back to the Asura realm. Then what happened? He being further bound. So this bondage, therefore, dependent on what? Dependent on the thought of the Vepachitti. It is a kind of an interesting bondage. It is not that you are binding him through a rope or through a chain, or you are handcuff him or something like that. Rather, it's a kind of a mind-made bondage. And Buddha mentioned it's so subtle bondage. You need to imagine that. So Buddha highlights that, monks, that Vepachitti bondage is very subtle. Depending on his thought, if he is thinking that the gods are, Devas are righteous, they are really good. We Asuras are the ones who are really bad. We are unrighteous. So I better be with these people. I better be with these Devas. Then he being welcome, you being given all the luxuries that the Devas are enjoying, and you become part of them. Do you think that he would think like that? Do you think that he would think like that? They were quarreling each other, right? They are battling, they are warring each other because they are hating each other. So it's very unlikely that the Asura king, Vepachitti, would think like that. So he may think the opposite. Devas are really unrighteous, Asuras are righteous. I need to escape from them and I need to go back to the Asura realm. The moment he think like that, the further he become tightened and he being sort of bound by that bondage. So this whole bondage is dependent on thought. So that's an interesting point what Buddha is going to highlight here. Now Buddha mentioned monks. Now Vepachitti's, but this subtle, this bondage is so subtle, even subtler than the Mara's bond. I think I interpreted properly. So Vepachitti's bond is so subtle, even more subtle is the Mara's bond. Mara's bond, the evil one's bond. Now who is having this bond? Who is subjected to this Mara's bond? We ourselves. No one else. We ourselves are subjected to this Mara's bond. All the people who are not arahants, we can say, in the higher level, are subjected to this Mara's bond. This is so subtle, Buddha mentioned. And he mentioned conceiving. If one is conceiving, then he is bound by the Mara. If one is not conceiving, he is not bound by the Mara. So what is conceiving? That is the crux in a way of this part. Conceiving. So we all have a sense of I am. Now say we are born as a little child, kind of a kid. And then, a mother is telling, see son, this is your father. Father is telling, see, this is your mother. This is your grandmother, blah, blah, blah. And now he is slowly recognizing, and you are given a name. So what is your born name? What's the name that when you are being born, what is the name that you carried? Any name? Who has given the name? Parents have given the name, right? Do you need a name? Do you need a name? So we need a name, but otherwise we can't communicate, so therefore we need a name. So that is why we need to find out, it has a kind of a value depending on the situation. It has a value it has a practical value in another way. It is not something that it is bound to you really, but it has given a name because, so that you can distinctly recognize. Now suppose you are being taken to the prison. Are you given a name? No, a number is given. Why? They also can recognize you choosing the number. So identity card number, what you have? In the identity card, you have a number. In the passport, you have a number. So you can distinctly recognize. So likewise, so for the easy communication, for the system to run, so individually, we are given a name so that we can distinctly recognize, I am Venerable Chandaratana, he is Dr. Anuruddha, blah, blah, blah. All different things are given. Now, after some time, what happened? So I feel, I am so and so. He is my father. He is my mother. So I feel happy when mother is arriving me, coming to me, when father is giving me something. So I am so happy. I am being looked after. I am being privileged. So my name is now in the report. So I am the first in the class. And I couldn't become the first. So next time I'll definitely try to become the first in the class. So my teacher is a good teacher. So he is teaching me really well. So I'm going to perform really well. By the way, my friend has beaten me today. I should take revenge from him. So now I am growing. So I am fallen in love with another girl, She's really beautiful. I really love her. If she's going to, what? Then I am going to kill. It has happened recently, right? I am going to kill her if she is going with another person. So where are we going? So we have made a strong person, right? So I need her. I am strongly in need of that. I want a lot of possessions. So I want to highlight myself. I want to protect my identity. Protect my culture, protect my language, protect my religion, protect my country. So if someone is coming and attacking, so I am going to abolish them. I am going to chase them away. I can fight for my country now. I can fight for my religion. I can fight for my family. So all these I, right, the sense of I now being drawn slowly. So sense of I being drawn. Now suppose, so you're being given a title. You got a good, a job, an occupation. I am a doctor. So I am with a collar and blah blah. I am an engineer. I am a professor. So I am highlighting myself, right? I am not just a normal person. So these normal persons are, who cares? I am a special person. I am a VIP. So you should give that proper respect. When I am going through the airport, so I am a VIP, you should understand my position. You should give that due respect. Otherwise, what happen? I am going to complain. I am going to punish you. The strong sense of I am. And I am going to win the next election. Now the election being prepared, I am going to win that. I am going to defeat all others. I am the one who did. The others can't do it. I am the one going to do. I did in the past, now I am also doing. In the future also I am going to do. I am the savior. The person that the whole country is going to get. So I am the president. So likewise, so how much are we promoting the self-view? So now say you have a lot of wealth and someone is going to steal that. So you want to protect that and a lot of sense of I. Now this is where we start thinking based on I. And all languages, all methods of communication is based on this center of I. So I am here, he is there, and she is at some other place. So this is how we are, that our grammar being prepared. Okay, the Uttama Purisa. What is that in English? I, we, what's that? First person, second person, third person. So who is the first person? I am the first person. Why didn't they put me in the third person? When they are making this grammar, the grammar rules, why couldn't they make I as the second person or third person? I should be the first person, right? Center of I, with respect to I am talking to another person. So he is the second person, I am the first person. Who is apart from this crowd, okay, that he is the third person. Now you can imagine, how this grammar is all fabricated, formulated, just to promote this sense of I. Now I am being sort of recognize myself as a separate person, as an individual. And say we have a lot of other kind of conventions. So I am recognizing myself as a monk, you all as lay people. And then what I feel, okay, you all have to respect me. You have to give me a seat. You have to listen to me. I am the teacher. So all these are promoting a self, right? We need to analyze the situation. And all these conventions, when we are blindly attached, taking they as the true reality, they make a self, they prepare a self, promote a self, and to that self, if there is any kind of a threat, then I being disturbed. I am going to retaliate. I am going to take the revenge. Now, this whole system in that sense, our grammar, our language, our communication, our identifications, our designations, promotions, everything is promoting this self. So in order to live, we need to respect as well also. Isn't it? Otherwise we can't communicate. We have to respect the typical hierarchy sometimes. We have to respect the norms of the society. But when we take norms as the reality, strongly bound to that, grasp to that, and the moment that I being little disturbed or attacked, belittled, look down, then I am in an utter kind of a mess. I can't recover. I can't understand, okay, these are merely conventions. So the conventions have become the reality. So I am living in the convention. I am making the convention so strong, so important. And convention is I am. Basically, very much like. So you can't think apart from that. Now suppose you are a CEO of a company, and assume that now the job has finished. Now you are going back home, and now you want to go to a supermarket. Are you going to behave like a normal, what you call the consumer, or are you going to behave like a CEO? Suppose that you are a doctor. So why are you taking a badge on your car? Why are you wearing a badge on your car? Say you are an engineer. Say, why are you wearing a cap while during the site? And why different colored caps are given? So we are wearing a cap, right? We are wearing a cap. We are wearing a cap. Always I want to identify myself as someone special. I am an engineer, I am a doctor, I am a CEO. And if a typical person is telling me something, you should know that who I am. Right? So that is how they are defending themselves. So recently also I saw news that one lady is attacking someone. You should know that I am a popular figure. I am not a typical person. I am a popular person. You should give that due respect to me. Now, all these conflicts are happening because a center of I being promoted. And that is how we are thinking now. So we can't change that thinking pattern now. And where we started, we didn't know any language even. We don't know even a word when we are being born. We are quite innocent. But now what has happened to us? Now we can't even imagine kind of a world that this I, the sense of I, is not available. Then we feel frightened. So what's going to happen to me? Where am I going to happen? Where I am. They're being frightened. So when Buddha is telling, okay, things are impermanent, unsatisfactory, Buddha mentioned that even the gods are being frightened. Oh, I'm going to die. What's happened to me? So very interesting, Now, suppose that you are practicing. So you feel that the body being scattered and body being dissolved or kind of subjected to arising and passing away. It's going through a kind of utter destruction. So what's going to happen to me? Now that is where, if we are continuing with this self-view, personality view, you being utterly disturbed. An interesting point. Buddha mentioned, Manyitam bhikkave rogo, manyitang gando, manyitang sallang. Monks, this conceiving is a disease. This conceiving is a tumor. This conceiving is a dart. Now you need to think. You need to understand why Buddha is telling this conceiving is a disease. Now we all have that disease. This conceiving is a tumor. This conceiving is a dart. So the moment I feel that I am, that strong feeling I start suffering. I am expecting kind of a due respect, I am expecting that position, I expect that whole kind of a artificial type of position. If that is being threatened, definitely I am going to suffer. The moment that I feel I am, then kind of an unsatisfaction. It could be subtle, it could be very gross, going to happen in your heart. The moment you are being all in a kind of equal, or I can't say even equal, say when you don't have the sense of I am, you feel happy, you feel comfortable. But the moment that you feel I am, you feel frustrated, you feel unhappy, you feel little kind of disturbed. You've been sort of threatened. You now need to think about the safety of yourself. You need to protect yourself. And am I the only person thinking I am? So all others individually thinking I am. All are thinking I am. So every individual is now going to protect their small I am. Now all are hitting each other. Because what's going to happen to this little I? Now all are in a conflict. We all are in a conflict because everyone has their own little world. I am the king of that little world. So don't come to disturb me. I am the king of my world. So this is the kind of the perspective we have to understand. So this is what is happening in ourselves. Say So you say you are not given the proper respect. So you are now now assume that you are going to a new job. And assume that you are in a particular bank and you perform well and you got a promotion. But the promotion is in another branch. Now you are going to a new branch. Assume you are as a manager or someone. Now the people who are in this new branch, now what do you expect? So they have to behave, they need to act according to your sort of orders, and you are the new manager. Even though they are performing there well for say several years, but you are the manager now. They need to give that due respect. I am the boss now. I am the one who got the promotion, I am the one being elected, I am the one being appointed, and now you should give that proper respect. So what happens if the people under you are not giving you proper respect? Now, yesterday it has happened, right? The one doctor being locked, yesterday or day before yesterday, I saw the news. I am going through all the headlines. I am really updated. I am going through the headlines through the internet. So the what's that? The minor staff. So minor staff have locked the senior doctor, the director, deputy director of the national hospital. Now, I mean, these things have become kind of reality of the society, right? Now, it is not no more kind of a imagined thing. Now, this is how we are all operating now. And to this, we are now going to give a solution. How are we going to give the solution? We are telling, okay, you should do like this, and you should give the proper respect. He is the deputy director, and you are the minor staff, and minor staff have to give that proper due respect to that deputy director. So this is how we are going to establish the law. So do you think that it's going to work? Continuous conflict. You can't think that this way then we can have a really peaceful and everyone respecting each other. That is how we imagine, right? That is how we imagine, okay, the society has to be really righteous. Everybody have to respect each other. The minor staff have to respect the deputy director. I mean, that is the what is the memorandum or the protocol? That's the protocol. That is what we are expecting. But it is not happening. Why? Deputy director has the feeling, I am the deputy director. The minor staff person also thinking, okay, I should be, without me, you can't run the hospital. Who is going to solve the problem? And this is the world that we are created now. I mean, you can imagine what's the world that we have created with all these norms, all these names, all these labels, all these designations, and utter conflict. And somehow, I mean, you are showing the gun and showing the prison and all this. Somehow people are a little surrendered. Otherwise, they'll be in trouble. So that is how the society being somewhat low-bounded. Now, therefore, Buddha mentioned, now the moment you feel I am, Buddha mentioned it is a kind of a disease. The moment you feel I am, it's a kind of a tumor now being growing. The moment you feel I am, Buddha mentioned, so it's like a dart, you are going to hit yourself. So, is it possible to have a mindset without I am? So that is what we are time to time experiencing through Vipassana. So the sense of I am is not possible to happen if mind is not grasping. So one precondition is essential for I am to happen. So that's a very interesting statement that Venerable Punna Mantani Putta is explaining to Venerable Ananda. So Venerable Ananda, with lot of gratitude, he's explaining to the other monks at a later time. So he's explaining, fellow monks, So when I am a new monk to this order, Venerable Punna Mantani Viputta was so helpful. And he constantly advised me, Ananda. Upadayatiko ananda asmiti hoti no anupadaya. Upadayatiko ananda asmiti hoti no anupadaya. Again and again he reminded me. The I am, the sense of I am happens only when the grasping is happened. Only when the grasping is available. Not without the grasping. Now, that means, on the other hand, if there is no grasping, no sense of I am. Are you going to die? Do you think that you are finished? No, I mean, we can simply live. No grasping, no sense of I am. So the Buddha's path or the teaching, therefore, giving a complete different direction, complete different solution. So we are suffering because we have the sense of I am. And we want to protect that I. And others are trying to attack that I, the capital I. But the moment the mind is free from any attachment, the moment that mind free from any grasping, you can't feel the sense of I. You are quite kind of happy, kind of spacious, no stress, no tension, no threat. You are part of the whole universe like. So the moment you make a little self, now you become very narrow. You become very sort of minute. You are separate from the whole universe. You can't connect with the whole universe. Rather, you have to sort of protect that little I, the narrow I, little I, from the other little eyes, who all have that I. But the moment that I is not there, so you become the universe-like. It is not that kind of an annihilation. So as we discussed, so where the I? Is it in your body? Is it on your eyes? Is it on your ear? Is it in your nose, tongue, body? Is the mind? Is it in your mind? Okay, if it is in your mind, now say in the morning, you had a lot of angry thoughts. So is the angry thoughts I? Now suppose you have a lot of loving kindness now. Is the loving kindness I? So which type of thought are you recognizing as I? So if it is in the mind, so which part of mind? Which thought? What kind of thought? Huh?
There is no I.
No I. Aha. Okay. So you can't tell that I is in a thought, because thought is so fleeting. Thought comes and goes. So thoughts are not I. That's why the whole sankhara formations are not I. Those are the ones that we need to really understand through Vipassana. That you understand, okay, you have a kind of a proper observation. You allow thoughts to happen, and they are coming and going. Another thought coming and going. Assume that it's a loving kindness thought. And you are simply watching what this fellow is going to do. It came and show his face and then go. Say angry thought. Now you are looking at what this fellow is going to do. Okay, he's shown his face and also gone. Say jealousy thought. Okay, now you are watching what this fellow is going to do. Okay, it came and shown his face and it's also gone. You are not holding, by the way. You are not grasping. You are not telling that this is my anger, this is my lust, this is my jealousy. Rather, this lust, this anger, jealousy, loving kindness, again anger, loving kindness, lust, anger. Like slideshow, right? Which slide is you? So that is why we need to teach the mind. So different slides are coming and going. Different thoughts are coming, going. So we can't say, okay, which thought as I. It's useless to tell like that, because they are bound to, or they are subjected to arising and passing away. They are subjected to coming and going, appearing and disappearing. Therefore, you can't identify yourself using a thought. So it is in the practice, it is not that I am going to think the best thoughts. I am going to lose all the bad thoughts and I am going to have only the best thoughts. So that is not the practice. That is not Vipassana. All thoughts are subjected to arising and passing away. So you can't have any identification to either wholesome thoughts, neither unwholesome thoughts. Suppose now all thoughts are gone. Now what is available? Now say several thoughts come and wholesome, unwholesome, they all came lost. Now suppose there is no thought, because through your practice, time to time this also can happen. Say if you are not entangled in the thoughts, if you are not promoting thinking, and say if you are not attached to thinking, so the thoughts have their own nature to come and go. Thoughts have their own nature to arise and pass away. We are the ones promoting, we are the ones feeding, and the moment we stop that, they simply appear and then disappear, come and then go. Assume that you experience kind of a absence of thoughts. Where am I now? So you can't have the I then. So the sense of I also happen when you attach to thoughts. Sense of I can happen when you attach to feelings. The sense of I can happen when you attach to the body, maybe bodily activity, bodily sensation. The sense of I can happen when you are, say, through the eye when you know, through the ears you know, that's why hearing. The moment you are smelling, tasting, touching, cognizing, when you attach to that activity, the moment, the sense of I can happen. When you are attached to that, grasping that. If you are not grasping that I part is missing. So the practice therefore is to maintain kind of a mind free from grasping, no attachment. Then the sense of I also can't happen. Asmimana can't happen. So then internally you have to have kind of an equipoise, kind of a happiness, kind of a serenity, kind of a calmness, clarity, not burdened. And I is missing. And we don't need to be afraid. We are simply still living. Buddha has lived 45 years without much trouble, without an eye. So we don't need to worry. Thinking that, okay, I'm just going to live without an eye for 5 minutes. What am I going? Please take care of me. I'm going to lose eye. Please take care of me. I'm going to meditate, and during these 5 minutes, I'm going to lose my eye. We don't need to worry. So during the night, where am I? Assume that you are in deep sleep. Where am I? You can't find out, right? You are in deep sleep. The body takes care of its own processes, bodily processes. It will take care of that. We don't need to intervene. You don't need to teach the heart how to vibrate. Isn't it, doctor? It will do it by itself. There are various other causes are there for it to function properly. You don't need to interrupt that. And when the things are available to see, EYE, will take care of the seeing part. Then mind also has the capacity to recognize, and all these things those skills are available internally. The human mind is a very interesting part in that sense. And the capital I doesn't need to be, it is not an essential component of the whole process. So this is some unnecessary burden that we have inserted to this whole process. So the Buddha's teaching therefore is a very marvelous way that teaching us how this natural process to evolve happen without I interruption, without I appropriation type of thing, without I making. It is not that essentially existing I, it is a mind-made I. Because of our ignorance, because of our grasping, because of our attachment, it's a mind-made I. Now, therefore, the teaching helps us to understand that. How I being prepared, how I being created, how the sense of I being sometimes promoted. So at that moment, Buddha mentioned, okay, please understand, you got to behave now, you got to restrain now. That Manyitam Bhikkhave Rogo, Manyitang Gando, Manyitang Sallang. Monks, this conceiving is a disease, this conceiving is a tumor, this conceiving is a dart. Therefore, Bhikkhave, Tasmatiha Bhikkhave, Amanya Manena Chetasa, Viharissamati, Evang Hivo Bhikkhave Sikitabang. Now Buddha gave an instruction, very interesting instruction. Now monks, you need to restrain yourself or train yourself in such a way, I am going to live without the conceiving I am. So you are keeping the mind relaxed. In a way, there is no conceiving going to happen. We will dwell with a mind free from conceiving, free of any kind of conceiving. I mean, we can't do it immediately, but that moment that we are quite familiar with the non-grasping state, we are able to live in that non-grasping state for a while, then you being familiar with such state, and then you even understand how I being made, I being created, I being promoted, sense of I being sort of coming to the picture, coming to the surface, and you feel uncomfortable, you feel disturbed, you sometimes being worried, because the sense of I has come to the picture. But till it is not available, you feel happy, you feel quiet, you feel calm, no inner chatter, no grasping, you don't feel burdened, everything is happening smoothly. So likewise, we need to understand to reverse the process. Rather than making an I, now you are recognizing this I making and allowing it to pass away. Recognize this I creation happens, and you understand how this mind is trying to fabricate it, prepare it, and you know the sort of futile nature of this whole thing, and then allow it to pass away. And you feel relaxed, you feel calm, not bound, not burdened, maybe tranquil. So the Vipassana in that sense, giving us a direction to that, kind of a practice to that, a methodical, a systematic approach to that. And that is what we are trying to develop, that is what we are going to practice, that is where we are going to dwell, abide by as much as possible. So with that note, I like to conclude today's Dhamma sermon, and we'll further discuss this on tomorrow. And I wind up the sermon telling that we need to promote that kind of a living where there is no sense of I am. Thank you very much for attentive listening. So today, 20th January, today lunch-dana was offered by Dr. Dishna Ranasinghe in view of her birthday, which falls in January. The committee wished to transfer merits to late Mr. Vidya Vidyaratna, who passed away on 19 December 2022. He has helped upliftment of Kalalgoda Meditation Center in numerous ways. May he attain Nibbana. So while keeping all these good wishes in our mind, let's recite the traditional verses. Ettavata ca amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata ca amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata ca amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddhika පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ශාසනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවා නාග මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු දේශනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවා නාග මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු මම් පරං ඉදං වෝ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදං වෝ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදං වෝ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා සාදු සාදු සාදු